Well, much to the chagrin of millions of Canadians, Justin Trudeau is still the Prime Minister of Canada, and it sounds like he's going to be clinging on with this latest cabinet shuffle. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Laurie Goldstein and Brian Lilly. Okay, Brian, I've lost count of what iteration of cabinet shuffle we're in. Let's say they are now reaching way back into the D bench to pull some people forward for cabinet. We know that names like David McGuinty will go to public safety. And we hear, of course, that another name, Nate Erskine Smith, who's been critical of Justin Trudeau, is going to go into housing, and a whole bunch of other names going forward into cabinet. So is this now the kiss of death? And is this just pathetically Trudeau clinging on?
Oh, you said kiss of death. I was reminded of the description of Chrystia Freeland going to the Liberal Christmas party the other day, and everyone lining up to see her. And I just wanted to know who walked up to Justin Trudeau and kissed him on the lips and is like, "Fredo, I love you," like that scene from The Godfather.
Of
Uh,
course.
I'm waiting for that sort of thing to happen. But look, David McGuinty is someone who probably should have been in cabinet ages ago. He's a very qualified individual. He's a smart guy, and that it took him this long, and he's willing to accept it. Oh, David, I a lot of respect for you. I always have. You used to be my MP. You've fallen. Nate Erskine Smith saying he's going to leave, and then I'll stick around because they're going to put me in cabinet. Oh, come on, give me a break. These guys are so craven. The only thing that could top it off is Trudeau putting in Mark Garretson in the cabinet, the ultimate gutter snipe, who is a clown show on social media. I mean, look, they're done. They're toasted. Trudeau doesn't know it. If he did, he wouldn't be doing the cabinet shuffle. He'd be calling an election or resigning. And he's not doing either. Come on. This government is over.
Laurie, what strikes me is all of this, so much has happened since Chrystia Freeland literally threw a grenade into the PMO and said, I'm out. So much has unfolded, but what's interesting is there's now reports that Trudeau had said on in a small inner circle he's gonna resign, but then apparently three people very close to him said don't resign. Supposedly it was Mark Miller, Dominic LeBlanc, his former babysitter, now who's finance minister, and
Still
his
his
chief of,
babysitter.
and still babysitting him, and his chief of staff, Katie Telford, all said, "Oh, you've got to stay, you've got to stay." So this back and forth, to and fro. No one has ever accused Justin Trudeau of having good political instincts. It would appear to me that those around him, or at least those that are sticking close to him and giving him advice, aren't very good at their own political instincts. So what is happening here with this shuffle? And I mean, it seems like window dressing. We can say all the cliches of reshuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that story's accurate, you're seeking advice from your chief of staff, who has a large part in creating this mess. Um, uh, Miller, like a member of his wedding party, and then also a longtime friend who is competent. Let's about LeBlanc. He's sort of like trying to hold on to everything now. But to me, this is what I call this is the shuffle is what I call an official Ottawa story. And
Hmm.
everybody gets hysterical and up and down and who's going to be and who isn't going to be. I mean, I used to be a provincial reporter at Queen's Park, and the day before the shuffle, you were working the phones frantically, right to deadline. How many people could you get? But none of that matters. You mentioned the history of shuffles. His last one was in July 2023. And he introduced those people as these are the people that are going to roll up their sleeves, like work for Canadians, get everything going. And I'm very proud to lead them. At that point, they were 10 points behind. After a year of that cabinet, they're 20 points behind. So, so like it's just like this to me is like best thing to do. It's like an animal that's had its head chopped off, like a chicken, but it's still running around everywhere.
That's right.
And the other thing to me, the most disturbing thing, is that we're facing a 25% tariff from the incoming
That's right.
American president, and Trudeau has made this all about him. And he did that. Like, you can watch how he did it. On Monday, everything blows up. Freeman announces she's resigning, staying on as an MP. And so the natural, of course, in terms of whether you're a news person or not, okay, what does Trudeau say about all this? Nothing. Nothing to the Canadian public up to today. It's now Friday. And all he does is he gives two bizarre little cheerleading speeches at the Laurier Club, so big Liberal donors in that. And the next day to staffers, Liberal staffers. And I watched those speeches, and I was really like the smiling and the jeering and the yelling, and I'm like, this guy's disconnected from reality. And one of his own MPs has said that. Now Wayne Long from New Brunswick, he was going out. He was the first one to call for him to resign, but he also said accurately, he's delusional and he's living in a false reality if he thinks we can go on this way.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think any of those cabinet. Oh, and McGuinty, I do like for one reason. McGuinty was the head of the National Security and Intelligence Committee on Parliamentarians. And for those of us who have read their reports, they were really the ones that started this whole foreign interference thing. So, and experience, yeah. So I'm good with that one. But the problem is the prime minister pretends there isn't any foreign interference that we need to worry about. So, yeah, to me, this is literally deck chairs on the Titanic, and we need the next step. And the next step, if he's going to resign, then resign. If he's going to run, then run. But stop holding the people of Canada like hostages or playthings. Just for once, answer the question and tell us the truth.
Well, it really is astonishing, Brian, that he hasn't said a word. I'm not sure if a conservative leader could have gotten away with that. They would have been hounding him and all over him or her to make sure that there's some sort of resolution to this or some sort of answer before going into the Christmas holidays. But on Laurie's point of what's really brought so much of this to a head was the threat of the 25% tariffs from President-elect Donald Trump. I jokingly said, Donald Trump broke the Democratic Party in the United States, and he may very well have broken the Liberal Party here in Canada with everything that's going on. But I want to play a clip of a commentator from the U.S., Ben Shapiro. He also runs his columns in the pages of the Toronto Sun. But here's what he is having some fun with Donald Trump, but said about meeting Trump when Trump and Trudeau met.
President Trump's meeting with Justin Trudeau, and Trudeau is talking with the president, and President Trump says, Justin, I want you to tell me, if there were one thing I could do tomorrow to completely wreck the Canadian economy, what would it be? And Trudeau goes, well, I mean, Mr. President, there are a lot of things. You're a very powerful country, but, if you tariffed our cars, it would be really, really bad. And Trump goes, Justin, I want to teach you a lesson. The first thing not to do in a negotiation is answer the question, if you could do one thing to destroy me, what would it be? So, of course, President Trump continues, I don't care about Canada. I only care about America. So, I'm going to tariff all your cars unless you give me what you want. He got what he wanted. Okay, that's how I think President Trump thinks about tariffs.
Now, take that for what it's worth, Brian, but it's such a believable story. The weakness of Justin Trudeau. And again, with Trump trolling Trudeau, hey, you're going to be the governor. But I want to take this in a different direction, because on one hand, we have this bobblehead prime minister running around trying to save the furniture. And then on the other hand, you have the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, who recently just spoke with you, showing leadership, showing a plan, talking about what they could do. And I get it's easier for an opposition leader to be tough because you're not in power, you don't have the reins yet. But here's what Pierre Poilievre said to you just recently.
We need a strong, smart prime minister who has the brains and backbone to first and foremost say to President Trump, Canada will never be the 51st state. We will be an independent, proud, sovereign country, as we always have been. We are blessed to live next door to the greatest military and economic superpower the world has ever seen, which President Trump will soon again lead. The president has raised some reasonable concerns about the broken Liberal border and our military. And I would respond by saying we do need to reinforce our border with drones, helicopters, boots on the ground, and other high-performing technology to keep drugs and guns from crossing, to stop human trafficking, and we will. We will rebuild our military, and our soldiers will once again have a warrior culture, not a woke culture. It will keep our continent safe.
That's showing leadership, Brian. Such a difference.
Massive difference. Now, as far as what Ben Shapiro said, people can dismiss him, he's just a MAGA right-wing conservative commentator. Ben Shapiro knows Canada quite well. His sister used to live here in Toronto. I've met with Ben multiple times in Canada. He used to host with me on Sun News Network. He came up to Ottawa one time to give a speech and then had a great meeting with Stephen Harper. He knows this country, he knows our political climate, and he understands Justin Trudeau. And right now, Justin Trudeau is kind of weak. And so when Pierre Poilievre comes out and says we need a leader with brains and backbone to take on Trump, that's not attacking Trump. That's standing up for Canada. And right. Poilievre has said he'll put Canada first. Trump is putting America first. Shouldn't we have a leader that puts Canada first and not, international organizations or your party or your own political interest? Justin Trudeau puts himself first and foremost, not the Canadian public. If he put the Canadian public first, he would have resigned long ago, allowed someone within the Liberal Party, if he truly believes in the values that he says he does, he would have allowed someone else the time to try and build up a rapport with the Canadian public, someone like Frankie Bubbles, Francois-Philippe Champagne, or Anita Anand, or, God forbid, Melanie Joly, somebody else in charge. But he hasn't allowed that to happen. And so we're at this point where Trudeau is being forced out. We've got these tariff threats against us. And where is the leadership? There's none, except from the provincial premiers. You've got Doug Ford and Danielle Smith, who I spoke to earlier in the week, doing Justin Trudeau's job, making Canada's case in American media. The Americans are paying attention to us now. And it's not like Vogue back in 2015, 2016, putting Trudeau and his wife on the front cover with this gorgeous photo of how wonderful they are. No, Canada is now a cautionary tale for the Americans. And that was starting long before Trump got elected.
Lori, last word to you. We have become a laughingstock. The Trudeau is the butt of jokes everywhere. I mean, heck, even CBC's comedy shows, whatever they're called, are making fun of him. I'm just wondering, how long can this charade go on? And so, but from the Liberal MPs' perspective, who are going back into their ridings, who are saying to their MP or their elected officials, we are going to get creamed in the next election. Something's got to change. Something's got to happen. What if Trudeau resigned? Does that matter? Last word.
Well, the first thing they'd have to figure out is how they're going to elect the new leader. Are you going to have a traditional, 4 months long thing? No, I think they'll have to do something different. Mm-hmm. But to me, if he goes, logically, I think they'll get a bit of bump in the polls. But what? So you'll lose the election with the Conservatives 15 points ahead of you instead of 20? I don't think it matters. I really think that. Now, look, he can stay till October 20th, 2025. That's when he has to call an election.
Well, technically October 2026, if he goes by the Constitution.
Yeah, but
let's hope he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing he could do is after he announces his cabinet, the next day or two, or just after Christmas, oh, we're proroguing Parliament. Everything gets shut down, and we start fresh with a new mandate. He has no mandate. He just doesn't have a mandate anymore. And you said the thing. This is not 2015. This is 2025, and we have a prime minister who, to me, is intellectually and politically checked out.
Mm-hmm.
How else do you explain it? You know, his right hand woman, one of his most loyal lieutenants. Whatever you think of Chrystia Freeland, and I'm not turning her into a martyr. She did what she did for her own reasons. She'll probably want to run for the leadership. But having said that, you just deep sixed your own most. I mean, she's taken a lot of grief, and a lot of people identify her with Trudeau, which is why what she did could be strategic. If she wants to run, she's got to distance herself from Trudeau. But when all that happens, when your own finance minister and deputy prime minister says she has lost confidence in you, because that's what she said, you know, to sit there and go, well, we have to wait for Trudeau to make it. What I would say is that what he's going to say, it's not going to be very relevant to people's lives. And remember, all of this is with a public who pollsters say over and over are worried about the future, worried about their jobs, worried about the cost of housing. Our unemployment rate has been going up. Those are what real people are worried about. And I think they would just like somebody in Ottawa to have their hand on the wheel. Because right now, the person who should have his hand on the wheel is driving like a crazy person.
Well, we know that you, Mr. Trudeau, are likely going to be taking a warm, sunny vacation for Christmas because we know you're not going to stick around in the Canadian cold winter. So when you're taking that walk on the sand, just reflect upon how much damage you've done to Canada. Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go to thetorontosun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.